Hello and welcome to another edition of Toys from the Attic. From the 1990 Spider-Man cartoon series, I thought we'd be taking a look at the character and action figure of Hobgoblin. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at this guy. Flying around on his glider, the Hobgoblin is Spider-Man's orange-hooded and pumpkin bomb-wielding foe. Not suffering from split personality like his predecessor and inspiration, the Green Goblin, he still shares many physical traits and weaponry. Although many people have worn the mask in the comics, in Spider-Man the Animated Series he was revealed to be Jason Missendale, a small-time crook turned millionaire due to his life of crime. So here we have Spider-Man and Toy Biz's Hobgoblin action figure. Now the interesting thing about this guy is he actually debuted first in the Animated Series rather than the Green Goblin. And because of that, they kind of reverse some of their backstories. Rather than the Green Goblin influencing his design, it's the other way around. Now because this guy actually debuted first, he's one of the actual first line of action figure villains that they came out with, so naturally I scooped him up. And just because he's first, yeah, there's some little details that are missing. I mean, he's fairly show accurate as far as the body goes, but the head isn't all that great. I mean, granted it does look very comic book accurate, but just not very show accurate, so I'm okay either way actually. He does have what looks like an attempt to have the fish scales on his legs, but they actually just look a little bit more like divots. I think that was actually in the show, if memory serves me right. However, I would have preferred the fish scale looks. I do like his little pouch right here that is molded on. The thing that I like most about it is, if you could kind of see, is that it's actually painted directly on the back. Some action figures, they would actually just forget about that and just color the front, and anything that was on the back, they'd just leave as that plain orange. So it is nice that they added that bit of detail to them. Now, as I've also said before, Toy Biz figures don't have that much accuracy, and, well, back then we were happy with what we got. He has zero articulation in his head. It's just molded directly with his chest. It would have been kind of nice if his head can move side to side, but man, what are you going to do? His arm could move up and down. It has a elbow bend right here, and his legs can move up and down as well, and they both have knee bends right on them. This arm, however, is actually spring-loaded in part of his action feature, so you could either pretend he's karate chopping, or more accurately throwing his little pumpkin bomb. This is one little major nitpick I have. I do like that the pumpkin bomb is baseball shaped and looks fairly neat, but it's just so small. It's one of those accessories that's going to get lost very easily. As a matter of fact, I've probably lost this thing almost 3 or 4 times in the course of owning this guy, but I've always found it and tried to keep it very close to him. Anyways, you can see that the stem is kind of long, and it will actually fit into this little hole on his hand right here. Let me try to get that out. And the idea is you bring his hand up and he's able to toss his pumpkin bombs. It would have been nice if they actually flew out more straight, but now it just kind of looks like he's tossing them down, kind of having a hissy fit. The other accessory that he comes with is, well, his removable cape. It actually fits on there fairly snugly, so it's kind of a bit of a pain to get off. And you can see it's just a hard rubber rather than a soft one or a fabric cape, which I actually kind of like. It helps hold a lot of that shape and detail. However, the Hobgoblin looks just a little bit weird without it. He looks just kind of some guy with an orange hoodie. So I like to keep it directly on him. Now the major accessory that he comes with, well, it's one that all goblins have to come with, is a glider. Now you can see the face is a little bit more of a gargoyle shape rather than a bat shape right in the comics. I think this is another one of those things that they added for the show, just gave it that design. And you're probably noticing that there's a little switch right here, and yes, it can fire out as a missile. Now, as you see, the spring isn't that strong, so it only shoots about as far as the string goes. I really don't mind the string actually being attached there because it helps keep track of the missile. The glider just doesn't kind of look the same without that headpiece directly on it. You can also see a lot more carvings and technological panels in here to help sell that it's like a piece of technology. It's something that they didn't have when the Green Goblin figure came out, so I do like it a little bit more on here. However, this glider and the action figure has one major downside. You're probably noticing that there's a panel over here, but not one over here. That's because the glue on this one eventually gave way, and I lost that piece in the pile of action figures. If you notice right here, neither of his feet actually fit both underneath there, so for him to actually get a good grip. And just having one under there doesn't really he doesn't really stay all that well, just having one foot on there. When you had both panels, you kind of had to squeeze his legs together and force him underneath there, and the friction of his legs pushing out would actually hold him in place very well, but it would put wear and tear right here on this panel, and that's what actually made it pop off. I was also afraid that the strain on his legs would actually weaken the joints in his legs and on his knees, so I hardly ever had him in that position. That's the only one major downside, and I am happy that they actually fixed that problem when the Green Goblin eventually came out. It's just, that's the only major downside for this guy. Now, because he is one of the first figures that came out, yeah, I naturally wanted to scoop him up because I was eager to build villains for my Spider-Man line, and he's one that I'm actually fairly happy that I got. Anyways, this has been a look at Toy Biz's and Spider-Man's Hobgoblin action figure. Once again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you've seen today, please feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment below in the comment section. Any advice for the show will be greatly appreciated. Who knows, something you suggest may appear on the show in the future.